Welcome everybody to episode number 11 to Podcast2MyLife. I am Anthony DeRosa alongside here with Vince Batula, Dale Roloff, the Kevin Vanderveer, and our very special guest today is Angelica Ortiz. I am very, very excited about this one. I've been wanting to have her on ever since I had the idea. We had the idea of having a podcast. She's chose a very interesting route to go down in life, but before we get down that, let's see how you've been. How have you been, Angelica?
I've been good. Life is good. I'm working a lot. I actually signed up for a semester of college, so that's cool. But
Good.
That's good.
It's never too late to start.
No.
Yeah.
I mean,
So when do you start? Fall?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you,
there's no real pressure to start either.
What are you going to be studying there?
My degree, they told me, is in biomedical sciences,
Oh, shit.
which sounds super fancy, but it's
Yeah.
basically just 2 years of science classes.
Yeah, it's basically like majoring in bio type of thing.
Yeah.
So, you took a very unfamiliar route than everybody else takes. You decided to do missions in foreign countries and help out people in unfamiliar situations you were in. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so after high school, it was like, the 3 months of summer, and then September 2019, I launched with, my GAP squad is what they called it. So,
And what's this program called?
it's called Adventures in Missions.
Okay.
That's, the umbrella organization, and then the trip I was on is, World Race Gap Year, so it's, 9 months, which is kind of a year, so... so our squad launched. We went to Romania first, and then we stayed there for 3 months. Then we went to Guatemala, there for 3 months. Then we were supposed to be in Ecuador for 3 months, but then we got cut short because of COVID. So.
So before you started actually traveling to these places, how did you even get involved in this program? How did you even find it, and what sparked your interest to actually going and traveling to these different places and going on these missions?
Yeah, I grew up in church, and my church was always doing trips internationally. My parents had went to Costa Rica and Africa.
Okay.
And I just thought it was so cool. And we always had people that were full-term missionaries, so they're always living in their country, and then they just come back to fundraise. They were always coming to our church and talking, and I was like, that's so cool. They
I want to do
Scotland.
that.
Yeah. So it's just so cool to me. And then I was coming up on our senior year, and I hadn't decided if I was gonna do college, and I was doing all these showcase soccer tournaments and trying to figure that out.
It's that weird point in your
I
life.
was just
yeah.
I was everybody's choosing colleges and I don't have one. And I'm smart, what's happening? So I was crap. And then my pastor was yeah, my granddaughter's in Thailand right now. I was how is she just in Thailand? He said that so casually, and he's oh yeah, she's with this organization and it's called the World Race Gap Year and all this stuff. So then I looked it up and I was okay, and then prayed about it, and I was all right, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So, were you considering playing soccer in college?
Mm-hmm.
Was that hard to give that up? Because how long did you play? Your whole life?
I played for 14 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I played for such a long time, and there were times in my life where I played on 3 different teams. So it was after
That's
school.
all you knew,
It was
basically.
high school
Yeah.
practice,
Yeah.
and it was club practice.
That's
and
life of
then
an
I coached
athlete,
one.
yeah.
Then I went to another one. So it was hard to give that up, and it was also hard to give up
It's a
school.
tough transition after.
Yeah.
D-Rose had to make that decision too, whether he wanted to play college football or not. And
Yeah.
I know when he was going through it, how much he was thinking about it, how hard, and
Yeah, 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave for training camp for football, I was just I can't do it. I was this just ain't for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what I want to do yet, but I know this ain't it.
Yeah.
And that caused a little bit of controversy in my life for a little bit of time. But
Yeah.
I know for 100% fact I made the right decision, and I'm
Yeah.
happy I did it, and I gave up that part of my life.
Yeah.
There's just some things that you just know it's time to give it up, hang it up, and I'm happy I did, because it really, I focus on school a lot more now, and I focus on myself and
your career path.
because if I was playing college football right now, I'd probably be a cool 280, 290 pounds. And that's cool and all when you're playing college football,
Yeah.
but then after, you're kind of left in the drive, and I wasn't going to make it to the NFL or anything. So I just decided that I was done with it, and
Yeah.
I'm happy. I still love football. It's still one of my favorite things to this day. I love covering it and
Yeah.
everything, but just gave it up.
Yeah. I think that's hard. After high school, you just have all these weird things. You're like, okay, I used to do this for so long.
Uh-huh.
Now I
What do I do
don't. So
now?
what do I do now?
Like after high school, you're trying to. I feel like because you go through high school and you grow as a person. You like because each year like everybody changes as a person. I feel like you're changing so often because you just keep growing. Especially at the age we're at. We're at the age where life is going by fast as fuck for us now. So it's like I felt like we were just in high school, but we've been out for like what 2 years, almost 3 years now. And like
really
exactly, and then we go around, we still see people, the same people we know, and it's like where's the time gone? Like everybody's so different. Like
it's so weird because when you're in high school, it feels like you live in a bubble. Like you see,
that's fact.
you see the same people every day. Like you interact. Like so, there's like that. There's so much bullshit that goes on. You're just like caught in it, and then once you get out, you're like
none of that shit matters.
Like none of that shit fucking matters.
Yeah.
Like I wish like nobody tells you that. They try to tell you, but you don't really understand.
You don't understand until you go through it.
Yeah.
There's certain shit in life you got to go through.
They don't prepare you for after high school life at all in high school. It's like nothing.
Maybe they do.
It's
in
nothing
states,
what they
like not states.
It's nothing what they tell you about, dude.
But in ours, like there was no like
life.
Yeah, like
life
no,
skills.
Like, the only thing we had was finance.
Like I'm not gonna lie. Like high school teachers, they always talk about like, oh, college teachers aren't going to be as forgiving as me. They're not going to give as much as a shit and everything like that. I feel like college teachers are more helpful in my opinion. Like they're more understanding. They're more like they'll answer your emails quicker. And they're just way more helpful in my opinion.
I'd say it depends. I've had good. I think it just depends on being a good teacher or not. Like I've had good high school teachers.
There's good and bad.
I think
college
it's the same thing as high school. Like
Yeah.
I have teachers that'll be like text us in a group meeting and be like, I don't feel like having class tomorrow. Is everyone cool with that? And everyone's like, yeah, like obviously.
I've never had that, but
that was. I mean, I've only been one semester, but that was my one teacher.
I had a teacher last semester at ACC who he would be like the class was supposed to be from 8 till 11, but it would finish at like 10:30 every day, and sometimes he would be like, yeah, I'm starting class at 9, like I don't got shit to talk about. Like he would literally say, I don't got shit to talk about. He was such a cool guy, dude.
Joe, so I know you so you got involved, I guess, through your parents and just the connection through the church. So when you actually got out there, like, what was it like? Was it what you expected? Was it like whole new world? Like, I guess it was like a whole new world because you're going to different countries. And like, what type of work did you do out there when you were going?
Did you do any type of international traveling before you started these missions?
So the only place I'd ever been, I was 9 and I went to Puerto Rico, and that was it. And for me, like, I'm like, okay, we're Puerto Rican, so we act like we're in Puerto Rico when we're in our house, So I'm like, okay, Puerto Rico, that's great, and whatever. And we went to Romania, and I was like, where are we? Like, what is this? Because Europe's like super old, and it's really cool. It's like just so like. Romania's like Dracula country, so everything's like dark and
they got
like
castles. Gargoyles.
Yeah, and it's just like old, and it was cool. I loved it.
Yeah.
I didn't go in with a lot of expectations.
It's like Vampire World.
But once we got there, I was like, oh my gosh, never want to stop. And I ate apple strudels every day. There was this little shop on the way to like when we went to ministry, and I got an apple strudel every day.
Apple
and it was called Piers.
Was the food out there, did you like it or did you not like it?
In Romania, all we ate was carbs, which was really hard because pasta was like, they have lei over there, it's spelled L-E-I, and I think our $7 is their $1.
Holy shit.
I think something like that. So we would just buy pasta because it was cheap, and then we would like make it for 20 people in this big pot, and they're like, everybody have pasta, and then we gained a lot of weight, and then I gained weight I needed to gain because I was so little in high school, and then we went to Guatemala, and that felt like home. Like I ate like I did at home, and then Ecuador, our ministry host was super healthy, so we just like ate the oddest but really good things. Like I don't know. Yeah, when I went back to Ecuador this past time because I led a trip with like college girls, we ate healthy again, and I was just like, I don't mind it, but I miss some rice. Like I miss some rice. We just ate soup all the time, and I was like, oh my gosh. So
is like, why did you get sent over? Do you choose at all where you go, or?
So my first route, like the Romania, Guatemala, Ecuador, that 9 months I chose. Okay. So they had like 7 different ones you could have gone to. I think it was like There was like Cambodia on there, Thailand. They go to Costa Rica, Colombia, and then my second trip that I took internationally, I chose to lead it. So then I didn't get a choice where we were going. Like it was like, okay, you're leading this trip, but we don't know where we're going yet because of COVID. So it was like, we didn't, and like, I don't know, COVID's been making things weird, so sometimes the plans are so last minute where it's like, all right, we're country switching right now because...
That's crazy.
That country locked down.
Romania is Eastern Europe, right?
I think so.
Is it
it's like Austria, Bulgaria,
Romania's in that.
Macedonia, yeah. We went to like Bulgaria, Macedonia. We went to Greece. That was super fun.
I would love to go.
That was super fun. We had all right. Do y'all call them gyros or euros?
They're
gyros.
Only here because everybody else calls them euros. So I'm like, there's just some things that are native to Philly.
So what do they call euros? Like the money euro.
They call it the same thing.
They call euros and euros.
Mm-hmm.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's crazy, but they're good.
How many euros is that euro?
That's all we ate. Like, we were in Greece for 2 days, and I had euros morning, noon, and night. I had the chicken one day.
So euros, you were living off euros and apple strudels.
In Romania, actually, yeah. And their green apples. Their green apples were the best green apples I've ever had. I'm not gonna lie.
That's like a really weird thing.
Dude, it's honestly probably like... Because, you know, like, soil is different all over the country here, and then I assume all over the world.
Yeah.
So it's like, I guess it just grows better in certain places.
There also just wasn't much. Like, the meat in Romania, it just didn't look that good.
It didn't look appetizing.
You'd go up there to, like, the grocery store, and it was called Profi. Oh, my God. Revolutionary hot dogs. They have a hot dog that actually goes into the bun. So you're holding the bun.
That's
like
Does that make sense?
like a
so
drink.
It's like a corn dog.
Yes.
It's like a corn dog that's not hot. Or not fried, you know?
Yes.
Wait, so is the bottom's not open though?
No, it's a closed bun.
Yo,
and then they
post a
put the
picture of
condiments.
this on the slide.
Yeah, they put the condiments, and it's called Profi.
Oh my god, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wait, they put the condiments in it?
In the bun.
Dude, that actually sounds good.
So then you don't get dirty.
Yeah, you don't get dirty, and like I feel like it's more even when you go into bite in with the condiments in the bun. Actually,
yeah, because they swirl around. They were thorough.
It's a wrapped glizzy.
Nice.
Yeah.
That is definitely not considered a sandwich then. You know how everybody always talks about is a hot dog a sandwich or not?
I would say it's more of a I don't fucking know, but it's not a sandwich.
Yeah, it's definitely
not. I would say sandwich, but what else would you call it?
I don't know.
The world may never know.
I would have to say it's a sandwich. I don't know.
Well, there's no
sandwiches are usually like this.
But like so what's a burger is just a burger, so I guess it's just a hot dog, right?
It's got two slices.
No, burger is a sandwich.
It's got two slices.
Then I gotta put a hot dog in that category.
Meat and condiments in it. I think.
No, it doesn't have two slices.
Yeah, it's like
it has a circle that's cut in half.
Yeah. All right, dude, fuck these glizzies.
Yeah.
I have a question. So you said you led these things, right? So what like responsibilities do you have if you're like the leader of like? What do you?
Yeah, go over some of the work.
You said college girls on with you?
Yeah. So the first one I went on, I was like part of it, so I had leaders, and then this one that I just did from January to April was to Ecuador with college girls, and this next one I'm doing is with 23 high schoolers.
So talk about your experience first at not being a leader, and then what work you did, and then get into a little bit what the responsibilities of a leader made you do.
Honestly, we did all kinds of work in Romania. Our first month, we were just like evangelizing. So basically, your job is like to go make relationships with people on the street, and then just like give them a flyer for the church and be like, hey, like, we love you. Like, just come out here, hang out with us. Like, it's not. I don't know. I feel like
so back home. This would be the people who come up, knock on your doors for church stuff, and like kind of like that.
Ish. Yeah, but
I don't think it's like that. I think it's just more of a
like that's what it sounds like. Well, that's what I know. But like they would come to my door, knock on the door, hand me a flyer.
Honestly, I think like the stigma around that is so weird. Like if it was me, I would not be knocking on people's doors and be like, hey, come to church. I'm like, no, like. I just like having friends to hang out with, and like my life and the way I choose to live it influences them. Mm-hmm. So I think that's more of what we were going for in like Romania, but Romania was just hard. Like they were 30 years out of communism, so like the old people were like wanting communism, and then like young people just didn't know how to handle freedom. So it's like all the young people had like white hair, like purple hair, and all these tattoos and piercings everywhere, and then the old people were like super
buttoned up,
prim and proper, and I was like, where are we? Like, so weird. But yeah, and then our second month, we went to a little village, and I kid you not, this like street was as long as Bellevue. Like from 206 to the train tracks, it was as long as that. It had one grocery store, and it was called Dragonesh, and that's where, like, the gypsy people were. So, like, the people that are dark with, like, long hair, and they wear all those bracelets, and, you know? Yeah. So we were there, and we did, like, kids ministries with them. So we would, like, set up games. So one time we played tug of war. Yeah, and the rope snapped and hit everybody in the face.
No. So everyone's playing pool, Phil.
No, we had like these marks on our faces. It was so bad. And then there like we also did manual labor. So we cleared out the lot next to the church. It had like all these rocks and straight up weeds. And yeah, that was nuts. And it took us a while, but we did it. And then month 3, we went back to the same city to do evangelism and stuff like that. Then Guatemala, life changed a lot because I didn't know, like, in Romania, women couldn't play sports. So then I, like, showed up to play soccer, and I was, like, you know, doing my thing. And then all these males were,
just, like, looking at you?
Yeah, these Y chromosomes were, like, ah! So it was just weird. And then when we went to Guatemala, it was totally different. So we were just, like, playing soccer with all these kids and doing kids ministry, and it was fun. Like, these girls, and they, like, kicked off their chanclas and were just, like, hitting the ball. I was like, okay, I can get behind this. And then we would do, like, evangelism, too, and we worked with this church in, like, a small town. It was actually my favorite town. And there was a guy there. He's old, retired from New York. Best pizza in Guatemala.
Really?
Yes.
That's a unique place to get some pizza.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, I'm from New York, you know, but... and I was like, yeah, period. His name is Juan, and I can't wait to go visit... It's called El Frijol Sport. It means the bean
Shout
sport.
out El Frijol Sport.
The bean sport. So I'm so excited to go back.
Guatemala.
No, yeah, it was so good. So good. And then...
that definitely felt good, like a little taste of home.
Yeah, it was so good. And it was like the pineapple pizza. I don't know if y'all do
I would like to try pineapple.
I refuse to try
edit that out there.
My sister
No.
I'd give it a shot.
Yeah. No. So then at the end of Guatemala, we did this like big soccer tournament with all the villages that we went to.
And
like my team won. We like they never showed up to practice. Like the last time in Guatemala, all of our teams, so like our big squad was split into 4 teams. So it was like my team, then another girl's team, another girl's team, and then we had a guy's team. And we all had like a different village that we were cheering for and stuff. And our team never showed up to practice. And there was like 4 of them, and I would run them so hard when they got there. I was like, let's go. As if they're like not in shape. Like these kids that I was with, we would have to take a bus like 45 minutes up a mountain to like go see them. Like one time, we went to go like pick corn with them on the side of a mountain, and I sprained my ankle like because I fell in the hole. And they're just like they're running in their little boots and they're like fine. So I didn't need to make them run because their quads are like stronger than mine. You know? So it was
they
just,
do
like,
physical labor like that all day.
Yeah, but it was just like fun, you know. So if they never came to see us, because there was like a little project where they had like a soccer field, and we would go to see them because we knew it was like farming season and stuff like that. But yeah, so sometimes we taught them school or English or really whatever. And then when we went to Ecuador, and then like COVID started being a thing, we had this ministry where it was like we were giving Venezuelan refugees free healthcare, kind of. It's like health checkups. So we would go to this place, and I'd stand at like the front desk, and I speak Spanish. I'd be translating. So I'd be like, "What's your medical history?" And I like learned the words for like arthritis and osteoporosis in Spanish. I'm like, okay, this is weird. And then we would like go through and like volunteers from a college in Illinois, they would send like people who did the vitals, and then people who do like blood and stuff like that. And there was a couple of times where people like got rushed to the hospital because they were like on the brink of
holy
something.
Shit.
So
yeah. And they didn't even notice, or like they felt sick and this is why they were getting checked out.
Well, it was kind of like COVID was kind of a thing, so I was like taking temperatures, not knowing why. And then some people like had symptoms, quote unquote, that we didn't know were a thing. And then other people, it was just like, hey, I ran out of Venezuela 9 months ago, and I left everything there, and I haven't been able to get checked up since. And there's this one lady, she's like, I had a baby like 2 days ago. And
That's
I was like,
fucking
you're
insane.
kidding me. I was like, where did you have this baby? She's like, I was just like,
where's the baby?
Yeah, she had it in her hand, and I was just like, so you delivered a baby like by yourself.
That's fucking
like 2 days
insane.
ago. Yeah, it was just crazy. So it was like some of the stories were super
I was about to say you probably get a very unique life perspective from going on all these trips.
That's awesome that you get to experience things like that. I could only imagine.
Yeah, it was nuts. And like your heart goes out for people, but then like they always say like don't have the mindset of being like the white savior. So like yeah, we have a lot of things in America, and that's great. And like we're very privileged and blessed, so we should be like thankful.
Yeah.
But I'm not going there to be like, well, this is why you should come here because things are better. I'm like, okay, I see your situation. I know this is hard, and we're trying to help you. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just
you're
like,
trying to make their home life better, not bring them to somewhere else.
Yeah, and it's just like, I'm a person just like you are, and just because my situation is different than yours doesn't mean that where I came from and where I'm going is more beneficial to you and where you're at, you know?
Yeah, like, well, because you can't, I think it's also, like, because not that you, like, you're going there to help people, but you obviously can't help everybody to the full extent that you want to, because you don't, like, we're not Bill Gates, we don't have billions of dollars, you can't change someone's financial situation like that, and a lot of times that's, like, what people are struggling about, like, they're from, these are probably, like, poor countries that you're helping out, and, I think that's just awesome. It's more of a humanitarian, like, approach.
Yeah, and honestly, for me, it was more about, like, and for our organization, it's more about relationship. Like, I know that I'm not going there to get you out of poverty because I have not solved that equation.
Yeah.
Like, none of us have.
It's
and
impossible.
Yeah, so, like, I'm going there to love you because I was, like, loved first. Yeah. So, like, I'm giving you something that I already have.
Yeah, I know, I read a few of your blogs, and I saw one of them. It was, you said this felt like, almost like a calling to you. And so, do you think your relationship with God and, like, your faith had a lot to do with even taking the step to go on these missions? And is that why you like these missions so much, you think? Because
100%.
You feel like you're doing God's work, per se?
I would definitely say so. I mean, he's a big part of it. Like, I can't talk about these trips and leave him out of it because a lot of what happened is because of him, So, like, the whole reason why I feel secure in the fact that I can leave a place and be like, hey, you're still poor, is because it's not about me.
Yeah.
Like, it was never about me. It was about showing you the love of the Lord and the Father that I have, that I was freely given, so I can freely give it to you. And I'm not leaving you with more questions. I'm actually leaving you with something that's eternal.
Yeah, because you don't need money to get in touch with God.
Like, you don't need something temporary from me. And like, okay, I'll give you a gift, like, that's cool,
Yeah.
And, like, we'll be friends, and that's cool. Like, I have friends in other countries now, and they still text me, and it's, like, fun. But, I don't know. It's just cool because now even leading trips, like, watching young people not settle for the whole college mindset, which is, like, college is totally fine. But I think, like, our generation is taking a turn for, like, but there's more. And I think that's cool.
You don't have to go to college if you don't want to.
Like,
it
I
was
think
a
that's
sudden
so
change,
cool.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, for the longest time, it
was.
seemed like the mindset of, like, the average American
You get go to
teen
college.
was like, oh, like, I'm just gonna go to college and stuff like that. But I feel like, honestly, a little bit over the past couple of years, like, over quarantine even, still, like, the mindset of a lot of kids changed. They're like, I could go out and I could wake up early and I could go and build things every day.
I think
with my bare hands and make money and raise a family doing that.
Yeah.
A lot of that shit has to do with the internet, I feel like, because nowadays I feel like it's not so much they're looking for your test scores and your academics. They're looking for people with a certain skill set, and a lot of these companies I feel like are going to just take people and mold them into what they want to do.
Exactly.
Or a lot of these people with the internet now, you have the power to go out and create your own shit. So you don't even need a lot of big companies to gain a following and start, like fucking
TikTok.
like Sal, dude.
Yeah.
He didn't have no following. He just started up his company, boom, put work into it, was promoting it himself.
Worked his ass off.
And now look where he's at. And he's still working.
Yeah.
And he's still fucking grinding.
Shout out the boy Sal. Forever
Of course.
I saw Sal the other day.
Yeah?
I think
I know he's doing some big shit right now. I think he's on West Coast.
No, I don't think they left yet.
Oh no, they go in
He's
July.
He's about to go.
No, they go in July, I think.
That's cool.
But another big thing I think is, like, debt. College debt is ridiculous.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I don't know if you guys saw, but, like, Biden is like dropping, like, a couple, like, tens of billions of college loans. I don't know
mine's in there.
I don't know how he deciphers who.
That's what I mean.
Gets
Who
that
gets them?
relief and shit
Maybe it's like
that.
$100 from everyone.
That would be cool.
I don't know, but that'd be pretty cool.
It'd be
But
beneficial.
it
A few grand from everybody?
It kind of makes me mad that he's doing that because, like,
Well, we're gonna-
imagine you were a kid, like 10, maybe 15 years ago, and then you felt that you weren't in the position to be able to afford college or stuff like that. So you were, and you were like, okay, I'm not going to get any relief, so I'm not going to go to college. And then now, 15 later, you see that if you would have done that, you probably could have gotten it erased and it wouldn't have been a problem. And I just feel bad for some people because they were in the position.
I think it's how the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's how the cookie
timing.
sucks. It
It's
sucks,
timing.
bro.
Yeah, it's just like you're beat.
Yeah, I mean,
it
really is. It's like you just got born a little too early.
You got born a
little you were born a little too early.
Yeah.
It also sucks that like people who just don't want to go to college at all, like that doesn't benefit them at all, but they're going to be paying for it.
Yeah, man.
I mean, college isn't all bad because you do get certain life experiences and shit, and I think that's what's the best part about the college experience. But I feel like when you're living there at these universities, because you're living on your own, you're doing your shit. So like you're traveling around the world, like. What are some life experiences you think that it's taught you? Because, like, I think traveling, you're going to get more life experience and different, or, like, just perspective changes.
Exactly, yeah.
More so traveling than just being home and doing the normal life route.
She's learned more about life than we have.
That's what
in 2 years.
That's what I say. So, like, what would be some things you would say you learned over traveling? Like, just like stuff that we may think of at home that's like totally different, or just like we just like stereotype it back here maybe.
I feel like I learned a lot of practical things, like getting on a plane, like how to get on a plane.
Yeah.
Like some people like honest to God, I was on a flight to somewhere, I don't even know where, and this guy was like freaking out. I was like, "Is this your first time on a plane?" He was like, and he grabbed my hand, big guy, and I was like, and he was like grabbing my arm. I was like, "Sir," like, but it was just like stuff like that. Like, how do you get on a plane, and like, where's your stuff? Like, where is your passport in the back of the seat? Because that's the wrong place for it. Like stuff like that. That even like leading, I have to remember. Oh, hey, like not everybody knows these things, but like traveling wise, it's just like taking enough time to be slow to like not miss.
Be organized.
Where you're at. Yeah, it's like. Okay, it's great for going to all these countries, even states. Like, you travel states, but, like, take time to be where you're at.
Yeah. Like, appreciate it.
Yeah, like,
moment.
see what's there. Like, why do you like it? Why do you hate it? Like, there were some places I didn't really like. I didn't really care for it, and I was like, cool. Like, I did it, won't be back.
Yeah, I experienced it. I saw it.
But, I don't know, it's just about... I think traveling really helped me find me. Because after high school, I was like, if I'm not an athlete, I'm not the class president...
Who am I?
I'm not the student... Yeah, and it was like, some people like watercolored on the race, and I was like, I don't like that. And then other people went out all the time, and I was like, I'm not really about that either, So it's just like finding a balance, and it was, what do I like to do? Like, who do I want to be?
Yeah.
And I think that's cool,
important. I think that's important because as we're growing up and we're going through all of these, I think a lot of times people will find themselves getting into trouble in life in different situations when they're unsure about who they are, because I think a lot of insecurities people have in themselves will force them to act out or behave differently, and that can lead and get you into trouble. But I think when you're grounded and you know who you are as a person, and you have like core values, I think it helps you move better as a person and just treat people with respect.
Yeah.
And I think like not that, and I'm not saying everybody has to be religious, but I think just people in religion and people who follow God and like God's word and just like, I guess, like believe in those core values, I think it helps them move through life and like really connect with who they are, because they have core principles that they won't do certain shit because it's against God's rules, but I don't think people growing up nowadays have those same values, so like there's no limits to what they want to do. Yeah. Like they like, because like if you look at social media, it's like sex, like a bunch of shit, which is cool because like all of us, like we're all open with that shit. Like we're like, I would say we're liberal in that mindset where we're like, we like talking about all that shit. We're open. We want to hear new opinions, but there's also, as a human, you have to know, like, have some self-respect for yourself, where I feel like you need to, there's certain shit that people won't cross, and not many people have those values or are strong enough, confident in themselves to actually just stick to it.
Yeah, I think it's more about self-awareness. Like, who am I when this happens? And like, who am I when like life gets really hard. You know,
that's when your character's gonna come out.
And 100%. And I think it's funny that you say core values because like something we do as an exercise, it's literally so easy. You have a stack of cards and they have like words on them, and it's like openness or like authority, and whichever ones you like, or like something that could be like the truth, you put in like a yes pile, and whichever ones you're like, I don't know what that means, or I don't really like that, or I don't really value that much, you like throw them in the no pile, and then at the end you have like 5. And it's like, okay, these are my 5 core values that are really important to me like right now.
Okay.
And I just think that's dope because it's like, okay, this is where I'm at. Because like they're always gonna change, but this is where I'm at, and this is what I know that I value. So like, how can I work on this? How can I strengthen this? And I think that's like, I don't know. I feel like that's what we were trying to do. Like in our early 20s, I feel like in high school it was like so shallow. It was like, I believe, I think this, I like this, and it was like, because our, like, I totally.
You only need the town thing, especially a place like Hamilton.
Yo.
Oh my god.
It's like, you know what I mean? Everybody knows everybody's business.
Yeah.
It's just like there's like pros and cons to everything.
Yeah.
It's just like everyone's gonna know your business, but you're also gonna get a lot of support from people. But you can also get a lot of hate from people.
Yeah, there's definitely
gonna be
two things to look at it, dude.
Yeah.
But another thing, like for the people like Hamilton per se, like in a small town like that, like you got out of Hamilton, like you experienced, but a lot of people like that in a small town will just stay in Hamilton.
And they stay in that mindset.
I still haven't gotten out of Hamilton yet, but I need to.
Exactly, but
and
like
once I get my associates, dude, I'm out of here. I don't know where, but I'm out of here.
And then they kind of just live in like that high school state their whole lives, with like drama this, drama that. Like,
I'm not gonna lie, I think that happens to people that live in Jersey. I swear.
Just New Jersey?
No, I swear. Like, I only know because I've lived in New Jersey. So I went to Georgia. I lived in 5 months. I lived for Georgia in 5 months. And then I've, like, been other places in the States. And I really like it. But I'm just, like, I come back to New Jersey and I'm like, it's not my favorite place. Like, why?
Because it sucks.
And people, like, there's not much to do.
We got voted the best state, I thought, in the US
like,
or something.
I don't know.
I saw that a couple days ago.
Like, and my parents were always like, are you going to move, like, to the south or something? And I was like, I don't know, maybe. Like, it's fun. I like Tennessee. Beautiful. Yeah. Georgia, great. You know?
I really do like the South. That's where I think I want to go for my sabbatical away from Hamilton.
You mean like to school?
What? Yeah.
No.
Pretty much, dude. I might spend the summers down there too.
That'd be cool. I'd come visit you. That'd be awesome.
A house down there.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, you get more for your money down there.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
100%. It's crazy.
That'd be fucking awesome. That'd be a good time.
Yeah. And the football is so much better down there, bro.
Yeah.
It'll be incredible. So, do you have any? What's the wildest thing that happened to you?
Wildest thing that happened
during this time that you were away on your missions?
The wildest thing. Honestly, the first one that comes to my mind is we hiked a volcano in Guatemala.
Oh, that's cool.
It took us 8 hours to go.
Did you 8 hours? So when you got to the
down?
Yeah, how long?
4. We
4.
muscled.
No, it's dude. Hiking's the weirdest shit because hiking up the longest part, obviously, if you're going up the mountain. But when you're coming down, dude, it's always like half the time because you're just zooming.
Well, not even that. Like I couldn't stand going down. My legs
but you're tumbling.
So
you're tumbling. Yeah.
Well, it's like the volcanic ash for part of it, so I was just like, and it was like I could have took the top of a trash can, just like went. But honestly, there was one part where we're just going down, and it's like that volcanic ash, but it's like straight down. It's really steep. And my friend in front of me fell into the wall that they had carved, and then I started laughing. I'm falling. She's peeing her pants. I'm like, wait, what? Then like there's a picture of it, but this girl behind us, she's got like a stick. We all have walking sticks. She's just like shuffling. All of us are on the floor, and then these Guatemalans are just like looking at us, and we're like,
tourists. Look at these tourists.
Yeah, but it was just so funny. That was so funny.
Were you able to see inside the volcano, or
like
is that like not allowed when you get to the top?
No,
I guess
no.
like I wanted to.
The top of the one that we were hiking.
That's what I mean.
The top of the one that we were hiking was dormant. So there's 3. It was agua, fuego, and then Acatenango. So water, fire, and then Acatenango. I don't know what that means. But we hiked Acatenango because it looks over fuego, and fuego she's a little baby one, they call her, and she's like exploding.
Active.
Yeah. So like our campsite, we stayed overnight because
on top of the volcano.
We couldn't go up to the top until the morning, So we stayed overnight, and all you just see is like orange, just like coming out.
That's so cool.
Of the volcano, and then like we were sleeping, and then it was like, "Go!" and it sounded like really hard thunder, and you'd get up and be like, "What the?"
It's
and then you look out the tent, like we were literally staying in a tent, and like these two guys, they're like Guatemalans, they like carried our food up for us. And they like cooked us a meal like over a fire, like an actual campfire, and we had like volcanic ash like all in the crevices of our face, and we're just sleeping like that.
Like fucking cavemen.
Yeah, and then at 4 a.m. we get up and we all put our little headlamps on and we go to the summit, and then you just see the sunrise like over both volcanoes, and I was like,
that is probably
this is dope.
Angelica,
like,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
Sounds like a movie.
Yeah, your life sounds like a movie.
Yeah.
Your life sounds like.
I'm pretty sure I saw that movie.
Yeah, you're like if you wanna get with some directors and maybe write a little movie.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess there's gotta be an ending to it. But
I mean,
you'll figure that
honestly,
out.
but that's like kind of the downside of doing the whole traveling thing is that everybody thinks like life's so easy. But they kind of see like the Instagram part of it, and then like after that, like you guys are asking me about leading. Leading was the hardest thing I probably ever done. You know,
Really?
like
I could not imagine
holding somebody's heart, and then also like mental state and physical body,
Trying to
like
keep them
keeping
together.
them alive it's hard. And it was
especially
just
in
like
countries that you have.
yeah.
And then you're also like you're young too. Like we're fucking 20 years old, so you're responsible for a group of people.
Yeah. Some of them are older than me.
Yeah, and
Wow.
and you still have to be responsible for yourself, and you're young and you just got into it. Like you went on one trip and then you started leading, right?
Yeah.
So like
That's crazy.
that's fucking insane.
Yeah, it was nuts. I mean, in between those trips, I did like a leadership and discipleship school, so I felt like more equipped to like.
But and I don't think anything's gonna really equip you for doing it. You know
like,
what I'm
you're never
saying?
like, okay,
like,
I'm ready
actually-
to lead, because then
There's always
like,
gonna be new
yeah.
shit that pops up when you're going.
This past trip, we had like two groups together, so it was my group and another squad that came, and then everybody got sick. And my like co-leader, she got sick, so I'm like, what
You
are
have to take
we
care of
doing?
everybody,
Yeah, like we
literally.
were like cleaning out throw up buckets at 1 a.m.
Oh.
Oh my.
Like when I tell you we were cleaning out throw up, I lost it that night. I went and made a cup of coffee.
Yeah, I was
just
about
like
to say.
I was crying because
You have to be a saint because I wouldn't do that.
What time is it? Like it's 10 now. Like we were up at 1. This is both past my bedtime. You know, like I'll be in bed. Like I'm such a grandma. I drink my coffee. I watch my Hallmark. I'm in bed by 9:30.
My Hallmark.
Yeah, I swear.
My mom loves Hallmark.
Y'all didn't see me at parties in high school. You know where I was. My priorities were straight even back then. You know, I appreciate my sleep. But yeah, so it was just like some hard stuff like that comes up, and then you're just like 13 people are looking at you saying, "Hey, like, what are we doing? Like,
Yeah.
what's gonna happen?"
Like
now? You know, so it was always that unknown. And this past trip, we were supposed to go to Colombia and Peru, and we were supposed to be in.
Isn't Colombia kind of a war zone right now?
Well, that and then COVID. So like Peru closed, so it was just like, are we going or not? And then I'd always be like, no. And then like to see their face just like crumble, I was like, my heart hurts for them, you know, because it's like I got my experience and I just like came here to watch you discover and like go through yours and help you, you know. So like sometimes it feels like a parenting role-ish.
Yeah,
in
well,
a way.
that's you're a leader. You're a leader.
Yeah.
You're like a leader.
'Cause
You're
oh my God,
responsible.
I love you and I want the best for you, and also I can't do this for you. So
Yeah, you
it's
probably
hard.
make amazing relationships.
Yeah.
Like
I was gonna say that.
But that's like the hard thing though, is like now coming home is always so lonely
To leave
because
everybody.
I have long distance relationships with my friends. So I'm like,
You said you even have a long distance
And my
relationship with your boyfriend.
boyfriend. Yeah,
so
so it's like-
that's hard too.
yeah,
But on the flip side, when you were gone, it was probably super hard being away from your family and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And like you said before, like you never did any type of travel or anything.
Yeah.
So it must have been super hard.
Yeah.
I've never really been away from my parents or
Yeah.
family or friends, so I really
yeah,
don't know. I really can't comment on that, but
Yeah.
I plan on doing it because you got
Yeah.
to at one point.
yeah. Being homesick hit me like month 5 when we were in Guatemala, because it was our first month there, and I was just like, oh my God, like I was remembering things because Romania is so not my culture, like. You know, like nothing about
Totally
it was like
different.
me. But then we went to Guatemala, and I was like, oh, they're speaking Spanish. Now we're eating rice, and I was
Like,
like,
oh, this sounds
wait,
familiar.
Where's my family? Like, like, what the heck? And you know, like my family, it's not just like me, my mom, my dad, my sister. It's like me, my mom, my dad, my sister, my aunt and her 4. My grandma lives 100 yards from my front door, and our grandfather lives down the street. So it's like, who's cooking dinner? All 10 of us are going to that house. So it was just like so weird.
You're very family oriented.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's why I love Guatemala. It's my favorite place. Like, it's family oriented. And then my parents actually got to come out.
That's awesome.
See what we
That's
did. Yeah, so then I got to share that with them, and that was just so fun.
Yeah, that's
And
an
I was
awesome
How many
experience.
siblings?
I have a younger sister, but she's like taller than me.
Really?
It's like so weird.
How old
She's
is she?
15, and she's like 5'3", and I just like reached 5 foot. So I'm like, what the heck?
I think that's going to be a consistent theme throughout your life.
100%. I've been 5 foot for like 2 years,
Yeah.
so it's okay.
It's alright.
It's okay.
I mean, I'm.
Yeah, it's a milestone. And then I hit 100 pounds on like my trip, so I was like,
Look at that.
2 milestones here.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So you were talking a little bit earlier about you were on your way to Ecuador when you first found out about COVID. Could you go in a little bit about that? Because I
Yeah.
know, like, I had some friends who were away in like the military who didn't even know what any of like the situations that were going on at the time were even going on.
So we were like wrapping up in Guatemala, saying our goodbyes, and then that like the night we were supposed to fly, I got like sick, and I was like, I couldn't even pack my big pack. Like we carry a 75-liter big pack of all our stuff, and like that's how we live. And my friends were doing it for me, and I was just like, I couldn't even lift my head to like look at what they were doing. And we got up at 3 a.m. to be at the airport, and I was just like on the plane. I was like, oh my god. But then like we got to Ecuador, and I was fine. But they were like, okay, like you're sanitizing your hands and you're taking vitamin C, but when you get to the house, and I was like, for what? Like we haven't done that our whole race. And they're like, there's this thing, and it's COVID, and you know it's only in like one area of the world. And at that time they're like, it's in China, and I was like, okay. Like I didn't understand.
You weren't recognizing
Yeah, so then I was like, all right, whatever. So we like started going to ministry every day, and like we took public transportation all the time. Like we didn't wear a mask. We washed our hands when we got there, only because public transportation. And then after that was like whatever. And then when we started doing those health clinics for the Venezuelan refugees, we were taking temperatures, and I was like, why are we taking temperature? Like what is that about?
Like, does everybody have a cold?
Like yeah, I was like, what the heck? Like. And it was like, if anybody has temperature, like, they can't come in, we have to send them to the hospital. And I was like, is there some kind of, like, thing? And they were like, yeah, it's COVID. And I was like,
oh.
I was like, I remember that, but I don't remember. And then it was literally one night, we were in Ecuador, I think it was the day, we were about to go to ministry, and they was like, you're not going. And I was like, why are we not going? Like, that's so weird, they need us. So then we stayed, like, the whole day. And we're just, like, sitting, like, in the house. And like Ecuador, the house there is like pretty big, so we just like spent time as like a squad, all 20 of us, and the guys were on the coast. So they were on the coast, 6 hours away, and all the girls were in my house. And the guys are coming back. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, the guys are coming back, why are they coming back? And my now boyfriend was coming back. He was on my squad, and I remember we had talked like over the phone the day before, and he's like, yeah, something's happening. Like, I don't really know what it is, but something's happening, we might get sent home. And I was like, we didn't do anything wrong. Like, I don't think we broke the rules. And then that night, it was like 8. They're like, all right, pack your stuff. And I was like, why are we packing our stuff? And they're like, we might have to leave like really soon. So it was like 11. We were leaving. And like, we were at the airport. We got on a flight. We were in Colombia. Colombia was chaos. And I was like, what is even happening? But then we like slept for 4 hours in Colombia. Nice airport. I would love to go to actual Colombia. And then we like landed in Georgia. And it was like COVID, like the big headline, and I was like,
America was
America was
wild.
Yeah,
the
so
media really you couldn't go anywhere without
everyone
seeing
no.
anything.
And then the phone was relevant. So overseas, like we didn't have Wi-Fi unless you went to a cafe with Wi-Fi. So like where we lived didn't have Wi-Fi.
So you went basically like a year or two without just like not even.
It was beautiful.
That's incredible.
It was beautiful.
That's
You probably
You're
were
so
It was
that is
beautiful.
awesome.
But like then like as soon as you land stateside and you turn off airplane mode, like all these notifications, I'm like, what? It's
thousands
this.
probably.
Yeah, it's like Apple News, and I'm like, I don't even have Apple News. Like, what does that even mean? And it's like COVID, like check out the newest headline and what you have to do to keep yourself safe. And I was like, okay. And then like I just went to the hotel room that night and I was like gonna go to sleep. And then they're like, this like we woke up the next day, this hotel's closing because of COVID. And I was like, I don't even have a flight to Philly. Like at that point, I didn't even have a flight to Philly because we had a week in that hotel. Like it was scheduled a week and it was only like a day and a half.
Yeah.
So then everybody's leaving, and it was like these people I had spent 7 months with. They were my family. It was just like gone.
Sad.
Within
And I was like,
minutes.
I like sat at the hotel front. I got to say goodbye, but I sat there like crisscross applesauce, and I just wept. I was like so sad. It's like, are you kidding me? Like we didn't even get to like party.
Finish, yeah.
You know, like Pitbull on. Yeah, my rent was late about a week ago. Like we didn't even get to do
That's
that.
so sad.
You know, so it was just like, and then I was home, And then it was quarantine, so I was by myself. And
that must have been such a shock for you.
Yeah.
Like, you were seeing the world, and then literally
locked down like jail.
You're locked in your room.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
And it was just so weird. It was so weird. So
Yeah.
weird. And that's why I like sent that thing out to our class on Twitter. I was like, hey, like, this is so weird. Just remember that I love y'all. So if you want to FaceTime me, what fuck? Do it.
I'll tell you what, though. We haven't really touched on that yet. Like, I feel like it's funny in like every TV or like movie, you see like the class president is like some like really like preppy like cheerleader or like something like that, or like a really big nerd. Like, you were the fucking shit for 4 years straight. I've never even heard of like any class in Hamilton where it was 4 years straight the president. And you just like, I just felt like everything like you did for our grade during like the pep rallies and everything else with like student council and everything, it was absolutely perfect.
It's funny because I'm thinking about it now and I can't think of anybody else who should have been our class president.
I didn't even vote.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it wasn't even like, I feel like Angelica was kind of like the great unifier because like she knew like she was friends with everybody, all different groups. So it was like
because because there's like kind of a divide in the school with like the honors and the CP kids. And I remember like when I was a sophomore, like I joked around and said like I was gonna do it. Because, and like I knew from the start I was never going to do it because I would have never wanted anybody else but you to do it. And then I remember we needed like, you did such a good job of like kind of blending in like the honors and CP kids and stuff like that. And that's why I always appreciate it, because there was always a divide for like some type of reason. I guess it was
that's the high school politics.
Yeah,
it's just literally how it is. It's the little petty shit. Like, that's just how high school was, I feel
like.
It
was awkward sometimes.
It was just really weird, though.
It was.
Like you were saying earlier, like, it was just, like, the mindset back then, like,
there was always
so
groups.
childish.
You had to be in a clique.
It was just, like, childish.
I also think we weren't slow enough to just be people with other people.
Facts.
It was like, I'm in honors because I'm getting into Stanford, period. So I don't care who I have to step on to get there.
There's people like that.
Yo, that's
There's
crazy.
people like that.
No, 100%. But it was just like, hey, like, we're both students.
Yeah, I was that honors kid who was just like somehow there. Never did my never did my homework. I was just sitting there getting by, and I was just cool with it.
So beyond me. You used to be in math class. Remember when you would look at one of my flashcards and pass, and I would have to
that was psych. That was psych.
Psych. So it was like I used to be so upset with that. He'd be like, "Yeah, all right, I know what like norepinephrine is," and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh," and then I would get like a B, he'd get like an A off one of my flashcards.
It was just the personalities, because you were like not like a stressor, but like you were like, all right, you were like really like up on it, like you had to make sure you were up on your shit. I was kind of like, I just took like the relaxed approach. I just like,
if I pass, I pass. In his eyes.
I forgot about this. You did not miss one day of school.
No.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Your entire life, you did not miss one day.
Yeah.
You just don't get sick, or?
Are you kidding? This is Denise Ortiz. Shout out to Dee.
Shout out to Denise.
That's my mom. My mom, I would get up and I'd be sick, and she'd be like,
all right.
And? Like, she was like, I was like, and she'd like, go to school. And then she'd be like, don't call the nurse either because I'm not coming. Nobody's coming. And I'm like, okay. I remember one time, I usually don't get sick, honestly, but one time I was like really sick and I was like, this sucks. It's like, I hate this. And I like love school, so I didn't like mind like being there. Actually, that's a lie.
That's why.
I liked the like learning. I hated English like that. I just thought that was pointless.
You thought it was corny?
Yeah. Well, I was just like I don't know. It was just like I proved my point, and then she wanted like 10 more pages after I proved my point.
Reading and writing is awesome and fun when it's things you want.
Yes.
When it's like Shakespeare and like great expectations.
Like nobody gives a fuck about that.
Beethoven.
I was gonna say
he stopped himself.
Like, that doesn't make sense.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. But yeah, like I like school, but
Mr. Libby.
Yeah.
Mr. Libby.
I did get money.
Shout out Mr. Libby.
Yeah, how much did you get for that?
I think it was like a couple $100.
That's it?
We got money for running the school store, baby.
Yeah, we did. AKA for eating tons and tons of
And
free
giving
candy.
out,
Yeah. And giving it out as well. Shout out Coach Bobby.
Yeah. That's funny as shit.
Name dropping.
Joe, so were you nervous that you weren't going the typical life route exactly? Like, like typical life route, I guess, like I would say, like, you go to high school, you go to college, and then you find a job. Like, just normal, like, basic shit. So, like, I know, like, because I'm scared, like, even though I am going to school, I feel like I'm going into an industry or a job that's, like, nobody really knows how to get that job at this moment. So it's like, I can't imagine how you would feel because you're not even going to school. You're not doing anything that's supposed to be normal or typical. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't say I was nervous. Okay, I'll say this. It was hard to, like, leave school and soccer and my family because those were things that I knew and it was comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way you can really grow and get to a place where you never thought you could get before is if you leave comfortable to go to uncomfortable. And honestly, like, when I left, I was like, oh my gosh, like, what are we gonna expect? Like, what are we gonna be doing? But I wasn't nervous. I was, like, so excited to be uncomfortable.
You're ready for the next chapter almost?
I was like, I want to be better at, I don't know, X, Y, Z. Like, I want to know how to build relationships, and I want to, like, do manual labor. I love manual labor. It gets a bad rap, but I like it. Like, we dug a ditch. It was fun. It was fun. Like, straight up.
Just sitting there 100 pounds digging a ditch.
No, it was like a 3 foot. It was a good ditch. It was like when you put a chocolate bar in the freezer and it's hard to you have to bite it on the side. That's how the dirt was. Like,
it was hard.
Yes, and we were just
dug a 3 foot.
a 3 foot ditch, my guy, and you're in the Air Force. So I don't even know that.
Her days were hard.
Yeah, what she should have said was you do pool work because you do be digging pool.
Yeah.
It's above
Digging
ground.
them blocks.
It's above ground.
You don't know anything about this.
But yeah, so like I wouldn't say I was nervous, but I was just excited. And then like once it became like my life, like I chose a life of missions, and every day that looks different. So like I had a job this past month. I finished yesterday because I'm leaving like on Thursday to Guatemala. But it was just like,
Oh,
yeah.
you are?
I'm leaving on Thursday to Guatemala.
It's tough as fuck.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Do you listen to that song?
Are you leading a mission or?
No.
Listen
Yeah.
to Ray.
Oh, you are?
Yeah.
No, I think it's Slim Jimmy or Ray Shremmer to Guatemala.
No,
Yeah.
you have to send it to me.
Okay, well.
Yeah, send
was
it
a
to me.
great song.
But yeah, but it's just like whatever I do, like that's part of life. So whether it's overseas or here, like it's
Yeah.
just how I chose to live. So now it just feels normal. So like going to college, I'm like, okay, cool. You know, like I get to do this at college with people here, even though people are less receptive to it in the States because they're like, you know, I have everything and I'm good. Like I don't need the Lord because I'm good. Which is like, hey, if that's what like you're doing, I'm cool with that. Like
Yeah.
I'm in no place to be like, this is what
To
you
force
need,
it upon
this is why.
somebody.
Yeah, I'll never be that guy. And honestly, like I've known people like that and they've bothered me. And I'm a Christian, you know, like I'm like,
I agree.
we're supposed to be like sisters in Christ and you're pissing me off, you know. You know, and it's just like that's like the truth, and nobody will tell you that.
No,
though.
it's
like
true.
nobody will tell you that, but I'm here telling you that. Like
I think with certain things, especially like an ideal like that, like God and all that, like you have to be receptive to it. Like there's always certain people, and it's just like this with anything. They're not going to understand it until they go through it themselves. So you can tell somebody all you want, but
Yeah.
they're not going to really listen until they
Yeah.
experience it.
yeah, and I think it's just about your heart, like where you're at, you know. Like
Yeah.
if you're chilling, that's cool. Like I'm not gonna be like, oh, you're not chilling, like you're going to hell. Like I hate when people say that. I'm like,
You're going to hell.
like that's like the most common thing I've heard is like you're going to hell and this is why. I'm like, you don't know that. Like who are you?
Those are
You
like
know?
the extremist
Yeah,
Christians that
and
give
I'm
them a
just
bad
like,
rep type
that,
shit.
Yeah, and that's what gives it a bad rep. I'm like, hey, like let's be friends.
Everybody's normal usually.
Yeah, let's hang out. Like, what does that look like? To hang
Like-
out and just like have a relationship. And then if you happen to ask me about my faith, then that's my opportunity to
Yeah.
tell you about
Yeah.
it. But if you don't, then hey, that's cool too. You know why? Because my life is like an example.
Yeah, I always thought it was cool. I don't mind somebody talking about their faith if they truly believe it and that's what they feel like. But I think sometimes people can get annoyed because there's people who will say they believe all this shit and then go out and not even like follow or live up to their word.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get annoyed at that. So I feel like just like in anything in life, as long as you're living your truth and you're authentic and you're actually like saying what you mean and living what you mean, I think anyone's gonna really respect it and be receptive to it.
100%.
You were talking about earlier how you, like, your first job when you were in Romania was you, like, handing out pamphlets and everything, and I'll never forget this one time I was in Knoxville, Tennessee, and you were just talking about just being friendly and just making friends with people. The guy was just walking around, like, the square and everything, and then he was like, hey, like, my name's blah, 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 I forget the guy's name, and he was like, are you a religious person at all? And I was like, yeah, and he was like, I'm not going to ask you, like, what religion or anything like that, I just want you to read this pamphlet. And then my dad was like, the fuck that crazy guy give you? And then I was like, I don't know. But then I remember I put it in my pocket, and then when we got back to our hotel, I started reading it.
Yeah.
And basically, it was just like, it was kind of set up like I don't really know, but I don't know. It was just a pamphlet with like a bunch of clip art on it.
Yeah.
And it just like made a story, and there was some like a little description under it. But basically, the whole point of it was like a story of a guy who always like said he was religious, but never showed it in any way, type, or form. Like he wasn't a good person in any way. Like he was like rude to everybody. He wasn't praying to God, wasn't like going to church. And I'm not saying you have to go to church or anything like that. That's a whole nother debate. But the ending of it happened to be that like the guy, when he was on his deathbed, he was like calling for God and everything like that, like praying, like trying to get into heaven. And then God was like, listen, I'm going to accept you, obviously. But he was like, you didn't show any love for me your entire life, but now when you know that it's time for you to go onto the other side, you're praying for me, and it's all like you want and everything like that. Like you didn't show any appreciation or love for me, or weren't a good person your entire life. Like why do you expect me to accept you even though I am?
Yeah.
And that kind of like changed my whole perspective. Kinda, it was like yes, I believe in God and everything like that, but was I being the best person I could have been? No. So just like be the best person, and then when that time comes that I go on the other side, it'll just be a smooth transfer. He'll just be like, welcome on in.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I've heard it said that.
Smooth transfer.
That's the way I look at it. Deuces just vanish into the air. See you, boys.
Like those movies.
Like, have you ever seen This Is the End?
Yeah.
Where it's literally just like the blue light, and they're just like, bye.
Yeah.
So why exactly are these trips so important to you, would you say? Like, is it because your faith with God, or your belief, or is it just because you like the human aspect of it, like just meeting people and traveling?
I think traveling and meeting people is always cool, but my faith has always been first when it comes to these trips. So, like my first trip, I grew so much in so many different ways, like loving people who weren't willing to love me back. Like that was a big part of my first trip, and it was so hard. But like it's what the Lord does for people all the time. Like I don't always love him well, and he still loves me. Yeah. And that's cool, you know? Like it's not like, oh, now you suck. It's like, hey, like we're still friends.
Like I'll always be there.
Yeah. And it's like I feel like people think of like God as like this big old man up there.
With a beard,
and he's like
the wise elder.
He's wearing a white robe and a cloud.
Gandalf.
But it's just like we were just friends. Like we were just chilling. He's like, hey, like I love you. You want to spend time today? Cool.
Yeah.
If not, like hey.
My favorite thing about God is that he's always there with you, whether you like it or not. And he's always there for you right when you wake up in the morning. And he's also right there with you when you go to bed as well. He's always there for you every second throughout the day.
Yeah.
He's your best friend, low-key.
Yeah.
He's always looking out for you.
That's why like, I don't know, the stigma around the whole like, he's far away and I'm here and I have to do something to get there. Like that doesn't work for me. Because I'm like, no. Like he already made a way for me to be with him, and that's why he's here. So that's like why I do the whole trip is like, and why I love to lead trips, because now I'm watching young people discover their own faith, and I'm like, hey, like you're finding it and you're doing the thing, and it's really cool.
So you're really like helping people get in touch with themselves, and you're also helping these communities when you travel too.
Yeah.
So you're getting like a win-win.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, like when I was on my first trip and it was like my trip, it was about the community and what I could do. And then I quickly realized that I'm receiving from these countries more than I'm ever giving, which is really cool because these people love you like you've never been loved before in your entire life. And it's cool. And they treat you like they're your mom. And it's just like really cool, you know? But now that I'm leading trips, it's just fun. Like, my first priority is, like, the participant, not the country. So now that I'm, like, making sure they're staying alive. And then also, like, you know, sometimes there's conflict, so we deal with conflict, you know?
Yeah,
like,
you gotta be
like that.
You gotta be everything. You gotta be a guidance counselor. You gotta do everything there.
But it's just, like, fun. It's fun for me to watch them go do ministry with a little kid and, like, discover why they love the Lord. Like, it's just fun. And some of them, honestly, like, my first trip, not everybody's still following the Lord. So it's, like, just because you go on one of these mission trips doesn't guarantee you a ticket to, like, I love the Lord and sit in the front row seat at church, you know? It's like everybody's got their own path and their own way. So I'm just, like, coming alongside what the Lord's doing in other people's lives, even if that doesn't look like forever, you know? Because, like, this next trip is only going to be 3 weeks, but... Like, I'm gonna get...
I mean, that's still a long time if you think about it. But, like, you're used to, like, months. You're used to months on that.
Yeah, everybody keeps telling me that, and I'm like, it's only 3 weeks. And then everybody's like, what the...
Nah, but, like, back home, it's like, yo, we go on vacation for a week. I feel like I've been gone for a month.
Yeah.
So...
But, I don't know. I'm just excited, because I'm like... To watch people discover why they believe what they believe is fun. You know? Like, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. But I'm trying to watch you convince yourself of what you believe. And I think that's cool.
And I think, and anyway, like, I think that's a good way to go about it, too, in your position, because you, like, these people are already coming on the trip, so they already have a pretty strong faith, and they're pretty good relationship with God, because they're taking the leap of faith to even come on these mission trips. So I think you allowing them to just grow naturally and, like, do their own thing and just watch them and be there to help them. But, you know, you can't tell them everything to do. I think that's a good way to go about it, just because they're already in the mindset that they want to do this, they want to grow as a person.
Yeah.
You're just allowing them to, like, blossom, per se.
Yeah, and it's cool because I've been there. I'm like, hey, like,
you can understand.
I also chose to go on, like, a trip, and honestly, for some of it, I wasn't loving the Lord. Like, I really hated Him for putting me in some situations. Yeah. That's okay. You know why? Because everybody goes through their own process. Like, there's still times,
that would have happened back home, too. You would have been in situations back home 100%. That you would have been in conflict.
That, I just got home from Ecuador, and I was, like, pissed to be here. I was like, why are you bringing me here? Like, this sucks, and, like, I shouldn't be here. And then I was like, okay, let me relax. Like, let me relax.
I definitely think getting out of, like, one's comfort zone is really important, and it's really important to experience that in life. And sometimes I also even feel like you get out of your comfort zone so much sometimes that, like you said, it is hard to transition back and
Coming
everything.
home is always so hard because it's like, why do we have all these things?
Yeah.
Like, why do I get to have this now? And, like, why are we enjoying this?
Well, you get to see. It's almost like not survivor's remorse, but like you see, like you feel guilty for you lived a certain way for so long. You see, but people don't have. You get home and you get to have all these luxuries. You get to go have a nice warm shower whenever you want. You get to have a cold shower for Tada. You know, you get to pick and choose what you're doing. Like simple shit that we would take for granted. It doesn't go like that over in these other countries.
Well, I was telling you, like, the toilet paper aisle. Yeah. Like, coming home from my first trip and going to the toilet paper aisle. Toilet paper was a big thing during COVID.
Oh, my God.
I don't understand that. But I was just
us
like...
too, we didn't understand that too.
I was like,
nobody understood.
I thought, my first thought, I'll be completely honest with you, I thought COVID made you shit and have diarrhea. Yeah. So I thought that's why people were getting toilet paper.
I thought that too. So I'm like, well, we actually didn't have toilet paper at my house. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just go to the store.
Get some toilet paper.
So I was like, I'll just get toilet paper because we don't have any. Not because we need more. You know, like, so I just like went and it was like 5-ply. I was like, why do you need that many layers? Like, and it's just like small stuff like that you realize, like, when you come home, like, oh, like, we get to have all these things. And it was just like, even, alright, I love a good Canada Dry. Everybody calls it an old lady soda.
Oh, that's the best.
A Canada Dry smacks.
Especially the cranberry one.
Okay, yeah. But like, they just didn't have it over season. When I had my first one, like, tears were shed. You know? But it's just like stuff like that you don't realize.
The comfort of home.
No, I'm being dead serious. Like, nobody coming in the shower while you're showering. You kidding?
Yo, so you having shower parties over in Ecuador and shit?
It's
Wait,
a community bathroom, so like you walk.
Nah,
in,
but like if I'm showering, I got a random person walking in my shower to use the same shower head.
Yeah,
I thought that you guys were that close. You guys would just get naked and showering together.
No. There's like stalls, but like people are just always in there, so it's like I can't just have a shower.
Yeah.
You know why? Because 8 other people are using hot water, and it's just you're taking like.
So you're trying to get in and out because it's already cold.
Yeah, you're doing manual labor. You're dirty. And then you're taking a cold shower. And I'm just like, So it's just small stuff like that. But coming home is hard because I'm like, oh, why do we have this? But then I'm like, wait, like, we've been blessed to have this. And I should be thankful too. So, like, there's like that balance of like, hey, this really sucks that, like, I don't get to do more in another country. Or, like, that things aren't changing over there. And also, like, it is good that I have this here. Because we've been blessed, and for me to realize that is also like bringing awareness to it.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, I'm appreciating both. Like I don't know. It's just always hard because it's that balance of I don't have to be pissed off that we have 5-ply toilet paper.
Like people want to talk about all the privileges certain groups of people have in this country and everything. I just like to look at it all as. In America, we all have just a special privilege of life. Like, just being able to have, be able to go to your kitchen and go to your fridge and get a cup of water with ice is amazing. You can't do that most places in the world.
No, most places don't even have ice.
Sometimes you can't even drink, like, tap water in places like Mexico. You can't do that.
To be able to vote, to be able to have a police system in your country is a privilege itself, and people just have forgotten that somehow.
Well, you take stuff for granted when you have it for so long. But once it gets taken away, like I always think about like say you got like a toothache, right? Mm-hmm. Like before that you're like, oh, I'll just eat whatever I want. And then you get a toothache, you're like, I can't fucking eat.
Applesauce.
Yeah, it's like little shit like that you take for granted.
Point, yeah.
And going into what you're in, bro, like the National Guard, like. That's like a privilege for us who aren't in like the National Guard. If shit ever goes south and another major war starts, there's not going to be any more drafts and stuff like that because people like you are
it's serious.
But it's that's
you sacrificed a lot for your country.
For like DC, like the thing that happened in DC a couple months ago. There was a bunch of people like from the Guard that had to.
My buddy from work got deployed down there.
Yeah, so like.
Didn't they ask you? Or they asked Darwin?
No, they asked.
Some people actually had the option, which was cool.
No, they ask you. Most
really?
Volunteer.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess I assume they get enough volunteers usually, so they don't have to force people. Mm-hmm. But I guess if they came down to it, they would have to.
Yeah, they would like something with like DC. It's not
like, all right, you're getting deployed.
Like if it was like, God forbid, 9/11 again, like then it's like, all right, you're going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I think it's great. I think you got an awesome experience out of life right now you're taking, and I think you got a lot more to do. You're going to be in Guatemala this week. And we thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
We're so happy we got to have you.
Yeah, it was a great. I think this is a great podcast. So, everybody, make sure to like, comment, subscribe.
We're gonna put the link to her blogs in the description below.
Also, she also has a GoFundMe for trips that we're gonna put down below. So make sure to donate. We're gonna have our channels down below. We're also gonna have our tailgate bus down below. Continue to donate because football season's coming up, and you're gonna want to ride on the tailgate bus. All right.
Hey, peace out,
Thank you guys. Love you.
Love you guys.